So you've just booked your tour activity here in Hawaii. What's next? In this video, I'm going to share with you 7 things to do before your tour activity. Let's get into it. If you're new here, hi, I'm Mariam. I make Hawaii videos to take the guesswork out of planning your trip. I worked as a concierge for over a decade, and I've planned thousands of itineraries for visitors and family and friends visiting the islands. For even more Hawaii content, don't forget to check out yestohawaii.com for places to eat, where to stay, and more things to do, plus itinerary ideas as well. Let's get into it. The first thing to do before your tour activity is to review your confirmation email. Now, if you've booked it a few months ago or a few weeks ago and you have your confirmation email, resend it to yourself so it's bumped to the very top of your inbox. The confirmation email will typically have everything you need to know, where to be if there is a hotel pickup, any tips, packing lists, anything you might need to know for that specific tour or activity. If you booked online, you'll typically get a confirmation email. If you booked in person at a tour desk or a concierge desk, you'll typically get tickets or vouchers. Sometimes you'll also get a confirmation email. It's important to double check your confirmation email just in case there are any mistakes or last minute changes that you might have missed. So for example, if you booked your tour weeks or months ago, however, the day of your tour, perhaps there was a hotel pickup change due to a parade or block festival, typically that will be given to you via email or the tour company will give you a call. However, you always want to double check to reconfirm all of your tours the day before just to be sure. The second thing to do before your tour activity is to make a copy of your ticket. If it's a digital ticket, such as a confirmation email, print it out. You could head down to your hotel's business center or front desk and ask them to make a printout for you. So why would you print this out in this digital age? Well, a few reasons. Let's say the only place you have all of your confirmation details is on your phone, and the place that you're going to for your tour activity, maybe you have bad phone service. Because of that, you're unable to access anything on your actual phone, and it can be tricky if you're driving to that destination. Or perhaps your phone battery dies, or your phone freezes. What I'm trying to say is to make sure you have 2 copies of your ticket, digital and printed if possible. If you aren't able to print out the details, you can also grab a pen and a piece of paper to jot down the pertinent information such as the vendor phone number, address that you're heading to, any key notes. That way you at least have a hard copy with you. Similarly, if you got a printed ticket or voucher, take a photo of your ticket so you now have a digital copy. If you're traveling in a group, text this specific photo of the ticket to everyone that you're traveling with, whether that's individually or if you have a group chat going. Now, why would you take a photo of your ticket? The person who has the ticket could easily lose the ticket, and if all the details are on the actual physical hard copy ticket, you don't have any additional copies. Similarly, someone could lose the physical ticket. Someone else who has a copy of the digital ticket, their phone could die, but by texting it to other people in the group, at least you have multiple copies of the ticket. Now, why is this important to have multiple copies of the ticket, whether it's a physical ticket or a digital ticket? The reason is because most vendors won't refund you simply because you missed a tour because you lost your ticket. So to get ahead of this, you want to make multiple copies of your ticket. That way you have all the details you need, where to be, what time to check in, if you have a hotel pickup, the vendor phone number, everything you need, have it in multiple copies. Another popular option, if you have a physical ticket, you can also add it to your Google Calendar on your phone. The idea is to essentially have 2 copies, physical copy and a digital copy. The third thing to do before a tour activity is to double check the vendor name. Oftentimes on tickets, activities will have a very generic name, such as Sunset Sail, Luau, Circle Island Tour. Circle Island Tour and Luau, those aren't the name of the actual companies, that's more a generic category. So for example, if you booked a Sunset Sail, I would reread your ticket or confirmation email to see the name of the company or the name of the boat for the Sunset Sail. So for example, if you know you're going on a beach catamaran, you can look at the ticket and see, oh, okay, so for the Sunset Sail, I'm looking out for the tour company Polokai Catamaran or Mai Tai Catamaran, not Sunset Sail Catamaran. So that way when you're on the beach looking out for different companies saying, hi, I'm looking for a Sunset Sail Catamaran, that's a generic term and you need to know the name of the boat or the name of the company specifically that you're looking out for. This is something that's really easy to overlook, especially for certain activities such as Grand Circle Island Tour. That can be multiple different companies that all operate using that same generic term, Grand Circle Island or Circle Island Tour. I remember this specifically when I was working as a concierge at an oceanfront hotel, and I would have guests come to the desk so many times asking for a sunset sail. They said they had booked tickets for the sunset sail beach catamaran and were puzzled that I didn't know which one they were talking about. Again, I had to explain sunset sail beach catamaran is just a generic term, and there's different companies that do that. Sometimes it was easy. Once I double checked the ticket, the sunset sail was literally the one right behind the hotel. Other times it was a few hotels down, or if it was at similar sounding properties such as Outrigger Reef, Outrigger Waikiki, that could be tricky as well. Similarly, Hilton or Hilton Waikiki, Hilton Village is separate from the Hilton Waikiki. The Hilton Waikiki is located on Kuhio Avenue, whereas the Hilton Village is oceanfront. So it can be very tricky. You always want to make sure to double check your ticket and double check the name of the company that is picking you up or tour provider you're going with. I cannot emphasize this enough. It might not seem like a big deal now, but if you are 10 minutes from your check-in for your sunset sail, you're frantic, you're not sure where to go, you're not sure what company to look out for, you're not even sure what phone number to call. This is all the kind of information that you want to check ahead of time, not the day of the actual tour. The fourth thing to do before the tour or activity is to know what you can and can't bring with you on a tour or activity. Now this varies greatly by tour, but the most important one to take note of is for Pearl Harbor. Now a lot of people know that you can't bring bags into Pearl Harbor, but not everybody is aware that you can actually bring clear bags. Clear as in the ones they have at the football games. So if you have a clear bag and you're packing for your trip to Hawaii, it might be important to make sure you tuck that in your bag or suitcase if you are heading to Pearl Harbor, because you actually can bring clear bags. There are some more restrictions in terms of size of bags and so forth. I'll leave a link in the description box below for full details on what you can and can't bring for Pearl Harbor. And this link is directly from the National Park Service. Another example is for luau's and dinner cruises. In the US, drinking age is 21 and above. Now, for most tours and activities, especially for something as simple as checking ID, the server or waiter will often check ID regardless of how old you may look. So you may look 50 years old, but you may still get ID'd. Now, this may be a little bit confusing, especially if you come from a different place where IDing isn't really super common unless you don't look over a certain age. However, for here, you can get ID'd regardless of how old you look, and you can often not even be served alcohol if you don't have a photo ID with you. So if you're heading to a luau, a dinner cruise, or anywhere else where you might be served alcohol, it's always important to bring a valid photo ID. Another good example is for helicopter tours. For most helicopter tours, you can't bring selfie sticks or iPads. iPads, of course, would impede the view of anybody seated behind you if you're on the helicopter tour because the screens are quite large. And then selfie sticks, I'm assuming because they could be used as a weapon. Now, this was important to note because I had gone on a helicopter and I had actually brought my GoPro Volta battery, which is a mini tripod that's also a 4-hour battery pack. I didn't realize that I couldn't bring that on board the helicopter, but luckily I had packed some extra GoPro batteries. So this would have been really important if that was my only battery pack and I wasn't able to bring it. Similarly, other places such as the Shangri-La, you're not allowed to bring selfie sticks. And if your selfie stick is also your battery pack, for example, like in the GoPro Volta battery pack, which doubles as a selfie stick / tripod or mini tripod, this might be important to note. That way you know to bring extra batteries. The fifth thing to do before your tour activity is to reconfirm your tours. This is especially important if you booked your tour months and months ago. There may be a block festival, road closure, or other event that could change your tour check-in or pickup. It's always a good idea to call tour companies about maybe 1 or 2 days prior to the tour just to double check all your pickup details, especially if you do have a hotel pickup. I would not recommend waiting until the night before. The reason why is because although the tour company could still be running tours in the evening, the reservations line, which is the one that would reconfirm your tours for you, they might close early at say 4 or 5 p.m. So if you get in on a late night flight, you give them a call at 9 p.m. for your Pearl Harbor tour the next day at 6 a.m. That doesn't work. It's always good to do this about 2 days in advance. Now, kind of going along that same line, if you are calling to reconfirm your tours, it's always a good idea to ask what the dispatch phone number is if you are going on a very, very early morning tour. For example, most reservations lines will be open around say 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. However, some people may be on a Pearl Harbor tour as early as 6 a.m. So if you're unable to find your tour pickup, who would you call? This is especially important to note when you're reconfirming your tours, because if you call the reservations line that doesn't open till 8, you won't be able to reach anybody for your tour pickup at 6 a.m. It's always good to have the dispatch line. Oftentimes these companies will have 24-hour dispatch lines specifically for early morning tour pickups. It's always a good idea to ask if they do have one, and if they do have one, what the phone number is. Similarly, you can also just ask, hey, I have a 6 o'clock pickup. I know your reservations line doesn't open till later. If I can't find my tour driver, what is the best phone number to call? Similarly, if you have a tour activity pickup, it's a good idea to just save this in your phone. So for me, I would typically save it as just tour and then the company name. That way it's easy to look up. So if I have tour as the first name in my contacts, it'll pop up all the different tours I may be booked or scheduled for. This is really important instead of having it on your ticket, because if you are waiting for a tour pickup, it's running late, every minute counts, or if you might be at the wrong pickup location, at least this way you have it saved in your phone. You can give them a quick call and find out exactly where your tour driver is, or if you're waiting at the wrong spot. This just streamlines the process. It seems like a lot of small details, but it makes your morning so much easier if you have all the details ready for you. The sixth thing to do before your tour activity is to pack everything you need the day before. What you pack or bring will vary greatly depending on the tour you're on. These are the items I would bring on every single tour. First, of course, is a spare battery pack. This battery pack will typically charge my phone or my GoPro at least 3 or 4 times. I'll throw this in my bag, that way I'm not restricted on how many photos or how much video I can take. I'll also bring my photo ID. I'll bring credit cards, debit cards, and cash. I always bring cash because typically for tour drivers or tour guides, you want to tip your driver in cash. I'll also bring lens wipes. I've seen so many people take really good photo or video, but they have smudges on the lens. If you get these disposable lens wipes, it's perfect because that way you can make sure the lens is clean and your photos look great. I'll also bring some sunscreen. I'll typically put this actually in a contact lens case, so it's just a small amount. For example, if I'm on a day trip or a day tour, I'll bring just enough extra sunscreen for my face. It's especially important if you're here during these summer months, June, July, and August. I'll typically bring sunglasses and a hat, as well as a hair tie. And if it's rainy season, such as December, January, February, I'll also bring a fold-up umbrella. If you like activity-specific packing lists, check out the yes2hawaii.com site. There's a whole category of packing lists for specific activities to help you decide what you want to bring. These are the packing lists I'll typically use for island day trips, hiking trips, snorkel trips. Depending on wherever you're going, I probably have a packing list for it. And the seventh thing to do before your tour activity is to know what is included in the tour. For example, is breakfast or lunch included? If it's not included, do you have to have cash? Sometimes on certain island tours, they'll take you to some smaller local places that do not accept credit card and you have to bring cash. So this is something to know ahead of time. Now, if breakfast isn't included and you have an early morning pickup, this is good to know because if you want to grab breakfast bites at an ABC store or a quick cafe, or if you need to get food the day before and stash it in the hotel room if the restaurants in your hotel or the surrounding area aren't open for your early morning tour. For example, if it's a snorkeling tour, do you need to bring your own snorkel gear? Is it included? Are towels included, or do you need to bring some from the hotel? Is sunscreen included? Some luxury boat tours will also have reef-safe sunscreen on the boat. Not all of them do, but some do. But these are just some small details that's important to note. And all this information can typically be found on your confirmation email or on your ticket. And of course, if you're not sure, you can always call the tour company and ask. If you're still looking for more things to do here in Hawaii, you can check out my itinerary ideas playlist where I show you guys tons of different things you can do here on the islands. You can also check out yes2hawaii.com for places to stay, things to do, and places to eat. Until the next one, guys. On this one-page planner, you have everything that you need where you can jot down your details for your hotel, rental car, tours and activities, things that you want to do, and a general itinerary.